Welcome back, everyone. We are joined by I Will Dominate and Quas from Team Curse. Congratulations on the win, gentlemen. I got to start off, a little bit about Voyboy. Last time this happened, the outcome was not the same. What's the mentality going into the game knowing that somebody's not feeling well? Dominate?
The main thing you want to do when you have like a teammate that's sick is like remain focused. So during that like 10-minute pause at the beginning, we weren't allowed to talk. So it's really good to just review the game in your head. Like, for example, from a jungle standpoint, I want to be looking at the lanes, like what I can gank, like do I think I have any easy ganks, and then from there we can formulate a game plan. So it's to use that time, those 7 minutes that you're paused, as effectively as possible without being able to talk.
And then moving towards a 60-minute game, does that affect Voyboy being sick change anything at all for you guys? How are the comms like as the game got later and later?
I personally didn't really notice anything different than normal. Like once we loaded into the game, it just felt like he was 100% fine the whole time. So yeah, I didn't really notice any difference.
With you guys taking out Saint, I know he came in to help with shot calling. Has there been any difference here with Bunny Fufu? Has he stepped up, or is it more the rest of the team?
I think it's probably more the rest of the team stepping up. Obviously, like somebody comes new into a team, it's hard to give them all the responsibility. It's like, okay, tell us what to do. But I think that he's definitely done a decent amount of calling, in at least relation to like bottom lane, like how they want to play the lane, lane ganks, things like that. So he definitely has like a big voice in the team, but I wouldn't say that he's like a shot caller or anything.
All right, Quas, Trundle's 4-9 coming into the NA LCS. You brought it out and did some big things this game, bringing out the Zephyr in your build. You used to do that on Aatrox, which we haven't seen in the NA LCS just yet. What, is that part of your innovation, trying to do different things on different champions?
Yeah. Zephyr's a really good item that I think on Trundle because he has a really high base attack speed, so he benefits a lot from it. And since I knew I had teleport, I could apply a lot of split push pressure. So the extra attack speed from the item, it was really good for the split push that I.
So I like you're stacking a lot of attack speed. You know you hit 2.8 attack speed, which is almost capped. The max in the entire game is 2.5 attacks per second. Had you already calculated that out, or did you just hit the sweet spot, fortunately?
No, I think it was like really high in attack speed.
I gotta ask, is it kind of the same satisfaction as crushing turrets with Jax, or is it a little different?
I'm personally not a fan of the Jax sound. But yeah, Trundle is like really satisfying. You just melt the turrets.
Right on. Being such a factor in this game, obviously, or sometimes you're usually on a turret. What's it feel like now to be able to carry the team? Everybody's kind of been like, where's Quas been on the team? Does it feel really good to be able to do something like this for the team?
Well, I think this is the first game of the whole split where I was able to play a more commanding role of split pushing. So I think it felt really good, and I felt I was in control, and I really liked it. And I'll probably pull out more stuff like this in the future.
All right, so let's take a step back more towards the early game here and pull up a clip that we have for you guys. If we can get this on your screen, this is a dragon fight that happened pretty early. You guys really turn around here, and you get a pretty dominating team fight victory.
And so here we know that dragon's already been taken, and we're calling that kite out, but look for the fight. And as soon as Voy hits a slow on all of them, we know that we're going. So we know the black shield's down. I go on Orianna, and here I realize that I'm getting caught, so I kind of try to like kite out, flash away, and divert their focus, and then Voy just starts slowing all of them one after another. So we get into this chase, which is actually just great for Lulu. She can speed you up, get an E, keep on slowing repetitively, and we were able to carry it through the fight and then get mid-turret off it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have another replay coming up here but in just a second, but Voyboy started to come out huge in that game. Did you guys realize that your chase potential was just gigantic and you wanted to keep fights going? Because usually Curse has been all around the map in organization. You guys were going for fights this game. Was it more about protecting Voyboy and getting him going?
You want to take this one?
Either or. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really taking control over the team fights and allowing us to like kill those targets and chase people down. So if anyone got caught, then the Lulu ulti was there to help, and I think it had a really big impact in team fights.
Right, and that plays right into our next replay, is that chase in the fights. This was going to be the Quadra coming up for Voyboy. We'll bring that on your screen. What was the initiation coming in here? Because you guys were kind of back and forth, but then you got what you needed.
Okay, so here I'm flanking from the back. I know that Michael doesn't have flash, so I try to focus him in the beginning. I back off because Morgana ults me, and then we just focus the targets that are in front of us. And this whole time, Voy was like picking off targets, like doing damage to the right targets, and we just keep chasing. He calls to keep chasing here, and we just all like chase him down.
So we're about 48 minutes into the game here. Where is the main voice coming from, or is everybody kind of given their 2 cents in what should happen in the fight?
It's mainly the carries that are killing people are what's saying what's going on. Like, for example, Void fight is like, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Give me a penta, give me a penta?
No.
Yeah.
I heard him call that I have Benny, and then Cop flashes and steals it.
Yeah, that tends to happen a lot. But yeah, it was the more commanding voice in that team fight, definitely.
All right, so you guys play Cloud9, Dignitas, and EG coming up. The Cloud9 match, what is this guys looking like for you? How much time are you putting into this one?
I think Cloud9 looks really strong, and we've had issues in the last matches. But I think we're pretty strong right now with our roster. We feel really strong. We feel really good. So I think we're going to be able to have a really good game against them.
Right on.
Is there anything special that you guys are going to do during Super Week? Maybe have Voyboy under house arrest or something, make sure he gets enough rest and doesn't come in sick anymore?
I don't really think it's like a rest thing. I just think that sometimes he gets sick before the matches. Might be stress related. I don't really know, but I definitely think he's like trying to come into like every match prepared. So I think that the main thing that we're gonna do is just analyze our play and try to play solid within ourselves, and from there we should be able to play Super Week. We're not really evaluating any of the teams like too differently. When you have this many games and such a short week of practice, you kind of just want to get solid at a certain type of strategy and then be able to apply it to many different games, maybe switch out a pick or two, something like that.
All right, and final question for you guys. Obviously, the win and Voyboy being sick, we can't overshadow. Bunny Fufu on the team, obviously, wins for the supports. You guys are 100% when you bring in a new support here for them. How is it going melding with him, and how do you think he's going to do on the team?
I personally love playing with Bunny. He's an extremely good player, and you know, like when you go into a team fight with Bunny, he's gonna hit somebody important with like something big, like someone's getting hit with a stun, a hook, something. So I love having that like consistency from the support position. We kind of had people that had different strengths before, but I think Bunny's probably the best fit for the team that we've had because of his just high mechanical level of play.
And Kwas, your take on how you enjoying Bunny Fufu on the team?
Yeah, I really like having him on the team. He has a great attitude. Like he's willing to improve, willing to work, willing to take criticism, and yeah, I really like how we're doing right now.
All right, guys, congratulations on the win. Hopefully the changes work out for the best. Best of luck in the rest of the games this Super Week. All right, guys, we're going to send it over to Freak and Jat for our final game. But first, Coast says their game against Dig will come down to early game mistakes, but mostly the early game or mistakes.
A lot of the game, Dignitas versus Coast, is either we're going to beat them in the early game really hard that it won't matter as much in the mid or late game, or they're going to beat us in the early game really hard that's not going to matter, or it's going to come up to who has the better decision making, because I think one of us is going to make a bad decision at one point, and I really hope it's not near Baron.
Someone's going to make a bad call. They're going to hope it's not them.
Yeah, that is
Game plan going
generally
in.
a good idea going into games. Dignitas made, I'd say, a bad call in their game earlier against CLG.
Yeah.
Gonna try not to do that again.
You know, we've had some really good insight, though. It's if you don't
Yeah.
lose, you're going to win.
If you don't lose, you win.
If you
Don't
pick
make
good
mistakes.
champions, you're going to win. And if they make mistakes, it's good for us.
Yes.
High level of insight here from these interviews. Thank you guys for the winning ways. It's time for our final game, Team Coast versus Team Dignitas. Now, these two teams are coming off a loss in their first match of the day, and for Coast, it was a tough battle against TSM.
Yeah, Coast was not able to keep up with TSM early game, specifically in the laning phase. Zion Spartan, who has been a carry for his team, had a particularly tough time against Dyrus. His Shyvana was not up to par, and he was never able to get split push going, which really hurt their team.
It was a pretty big factor for them. And, of course, we've seen that Coast doesn't always do well when they don't get their solo lanes going. And now in their last two meetings, Dig has gotten the upper hand against them, 2-0 against Coast so far this season.
Yeah, we actually saw in Dignitas' first game, they ran that full AoE comp, and they looked for nothing but team fights. The Amumu, the Wukong, everything just went together. And since Coast generally looks to avoid team fights, I think we're in for a fairly interesting game.
Yeah, if they run the same strategies, it'll be weird. And, of course, it's also worth pointing out that Coast has the potential to tie 4th place with Dignitas if they do win this match. These guys both near the top of the standings at this game.
Yeah, Coast has really made more of a mid-season run, and Dignitas has made a mid-season fall. So they're kind of going in opposite directions. Coming into Super Week, Coast had been 5-1 in the last 6 until they lost that game to TSM, and Dignitas had been on quite a slide.
Yeah, I believe it's 5-2 versus 2-7, their most recent records. So these guys, different direction. We'll see which way it goes. We're going to check out the starting lineups now, though. On the blue side, it is Coast with Zion Spartan in the top lane, Nintendo Dex in the jungle, Shifter in mid, Wiz Fusion on AD carry, and Daydreamin on support.
On the red side, it is Dignitas. Cruz in the top lane, Crumbs in the jungle, Scar in mid, I'm a Cutie Pie to carry, and Kiwi Kid on support.
We're going to get ourselves into this game very soon. And it's interesting kind of the way these matchups are going because Cruiser had such a good start to the game. Even though Dig lost their last match, Cruiser started the game like 4-0-1 or something, had a really good Mundo game. His teleports were awesome. And that's not the kind of champion that Zion's been playing necessarily.
Yeah.
He's playing, more fighter-based, more individual playmaking. And he specifically said as well, we talked to him, he said that with the recent changes in 4.3, it's actually hit his champion pool a fair bit. His playstyle's off.
Yeah, well, so just looking at the top lane matchup in particular, Cruiser has played 4 different champions. Zion has played 9 different champions, and generally he's gotten better at the tank counters. I know that the Perseverance nerfs to the tanks, not being nearly as good, have made champions like Aurelia go up as well. Wicked was talking about that over in Europe. I think this may be the time for a little bit more diversity in the top lane that would work perfectly for Coast.
Yeah, and I know with Yasuo getting a nerf as well in this patch, like that's one champion we're seeing banned sometimes, but also is a Zion Spartan type of champ here. So, Pantheon banned away from Crumbs, Renekton away from Cruiser. Of course, that was the champion that beat him up last time around, so not an unexpected ban.
Still
2
waiting
bans
on
away
that
from
top
Shifter.
lane Soraka to make its approach. There's
true.
a lot of solo lane Sorakas that just sneak through the cracks every once in a while, and Coast bans it.
Oh man,
Damn.
they saw something
that
coming.
was a Scar pick. He's been doing mid lane Soraka. You can see the smiles.
The Lulu ban as well, so Shifter losing 3 of his champions out of his pool. Now, do they first pick something like Shyvana for Zion, or do they still get a Shifter first pick in? There's still stuff available.
I feel like Shifter's next pick is going to be Ahri, and they can wait on that. So I think their first pick is a priority. I would go with something like Elise if they were Coast.
Yeah.
Their Elise play has been quite strong in the past. Nintendude is 2-1 on it thus far. It is a pretty big priority pick normally. It's the second most played champion for Crumbs as well.
Nintendude's the one talking right now. So he's still saying, like, here's the champions we're thinking about.
How important is Elise? How important is Vi? Things like that.
Yeah. I mean, Elise big for both these teams. Elise, I think, that is the right call. But it does leave 2 big picks open to Dignitas if they want something important here. Of course, Daydream known for his hook champions. Thresh, the big one he plays right now. Elise first pick going through. Now Dignitas make their choices. Of course, Kiwi Kid, kind of, I still feel like he's most known for his Annie play, even after the nerfs. That's been his big champ. But
it's been pretty good for him. We saw Special break out the Frost Queen on Annie earlier. The new Spell Thief's Edge.
Ice and Fire, it's a good mix.
Dignitas in their game against CLG as well, kind of just stuck with the champions they have played the most for the whole year, even if they put together an AoE comp. They picked Mundo, which is the most played for Cruiser. They picked Jinx, which is the most played for Cutie Pie. Lucian is the second most played. Annie is the most played. They're really just going off of what they have played the most of right now. It's all they could do at the moment since Elise doesn't really give away much.
All right, so Annie, Lucian, great lane. Very good at dealing damage to you and setting you up for kills here for the Dignitas bottom lane. And I like that because Lucian is also WizFusion's big champion right now, so it's a bit of a steal as well.
It's a really good takeaway.
Yeah.
Although Caitlyn is probably just the next thing he would default back into. Doesn't need to do that right away. Coast has a lot of different directions. At this point, Coast probably doesn't like being on blue side, honestly, because they want Zion Spartan to be able to pick his counter in the top lane.
Yeah.
And he's not able to do that. So just save Thresh and Caitlyn picks coming from Coast.
Okay, they're going to play reactively completely here. But overall, bottom lane is very gankable. Thresh Elise is one of probably the scariest things to fight against. Even if you are far away and have dashes like Lucian and Annie. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting 2v2 to watch for if we find it. Likely to be a heads-up 2v2, but we'll see. Coast, of course, saw the entire lane before making their choices and said, yes, we are comfortable making these picks here. These are champs that go up nicely. Now, Dignitas have to show a solo laner here at this point.
I will have to say, Scar's 4-0 on Karthus. And picking it into Ahri is generally a bad idea, but especially after that defeat they suffered earlier. Why not play it until it fails? They could be a little bit dissuaded because they did that with Jinx. I'm a Cutie Pie was 5-0 on Jinx and has lost the most recent 2.
Ooh, so Jungle Evelynn and the Jace. We've seen it go a couple different ways. We've seen top lane Jace, we've seen mid lane Jace. But of course, Tear of the Goddess was buffed this patch. It now generates some max mana on its own. And Doran's shield got nerfed, so you'll see a little bit less of it and less regen, and Jace can maybe poke you out of lane.
I like it right now. Top lane Jace has made a bit of a comeback.
The Amumu hover. Giving Kiwi Kid nightmares. He's laughing. You can see Kiwi Kid. He's like, hey, it's the Amumu. No, they stole my pick.
Yeah, what else am I going to play? It was actually Annie mid the whole time.
Right?
This Jace pick is intriguing, though. I think it'll be a mid lane pick by Skara, which makes Shifter's choice a little bit more difficult. It's been a while since Jace has seen his way in NA LCS.
Oh, we forgot about this. Kassadin got all the way through picks and bans. And the Jax for Zion Spartan. I mean, Coast, I feel like got every single champion they want to play here.
This will be fun, actually. I feel like even though Kassadin was getting banned the whole time throughout this split, Coast was the best Kassadin team.
Yeah.
All through NACL. Because they tried to force Kassadin heavy playstyles in.
1% pick rate.
Yeah, that's about right. But they tried to force Kassadin heavy playstyles in when Shifter was playing lots of Katarina because they loved the roaming potential out of the mid lane. And especially with Thresh, he can go in with his Rift Walk for damage and then still get out with the Lantern, or he can Lantern gank. The only thing they do not have, though, is a jungler who can push hard with the Kassadin. That's something Coast usually synergizes together, but because they locked in the Elise as well, they're missing that little bit right there.
You know, it's worth pointing out, by the way. So, yeah, it's going to be top lane Jace, mid lane Kha'Zix. I do want to point out that the Kassadin no longer has 100% pick ban rate in the LCS. In CLG's game, it went all the way through. I think it was CLG's game.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
There was a hover and then no lock-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4.3 Kassadin, base damages at rank 5 going down on his Q and his E. We'll see if that's enough. I did get to talk to Coast's duo lane after the games about 2-3 weeks ago. And like, so Kassadin 100% pick ban, like why is he so feared? And he's like, we could have AFK'd and shifted 1v5.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
I don't believe them.
I feel like that's overstated.
Yeah, and especially considering he's had a fair bit of damage taken away from him, as well as his silence been decreased. His Q at max rank went from 220 to 200. His E also, I believe, was taken down from 280.
I think it's down
dropped
40
down
damage.
to 240.
I
at max
believe,
rank.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
some hits there.
Some decreased damage and less silence duration, but he's still Kassadin.
He is still Kassadin. That is
Yeah.
true. The name hasn't changed, so keep that in mind. You can find it the same way. As the teams load into the game, let's total up the votes and see which team you picked to win. According to lolesports.com, 59% of you think that Dignitas is going to be victorious. This is one of the biggest votes I've seen for Coast in a while.
Well, Coast has been on the upswing.
Yeah, they have.
And Dignitas actually looked pretty good in their game against CLG earlier. Considering how powerful CLG has looked lately, Dignitas had him on their back foot for a little while. The lane swap that Dignitas pulled with Jinx was very clever to get a Mumu out of the early game.
Yeah.
I wonder what clever ploys they're going to have to stop the Kassadin from Shifter here.
We'll see what we're going to get out of this one. Of course, I mean, Dignitas back in, I think it was the first spring split, would 2v1 mid every game just for the map positioning. And Scar would almost always be stuck in a 1v2. And it would, like, work out for them. Like, they would just kind of play that way and rotate off of mid. I mean, Cutie Pie's already running mid lane. They're showing their hand early.
Kassadin, weak early game.
Yes. Slightly weaker mid game as well. And you consider the main Kassadin build is like tier Rod of Ages. He's relying on base damage for a long time. And those base damages being lower really does delay his power spike for a while.
This will also be Zion Spartan's third game on Jax. He is undefeated. It's the 5th unique top laner for Cruiser to play here. It is his first game on Jace in the LCS.
The first Jace in general I feel like we've seen in the LCS.
This season, I think you're correct.
On either side of the pond. Cruiser chilling top lane. Did open up Doran's Blade. Zion Spartan, I got to point out, by the way, opened up Flask and Potions. So not Doran's Shield, not Cloth 5, not Doran's Blade. Certainly not Doran's Blade. That'd be horrible.
Jace is a very heavy early game harasser.
Yeah.
So I think it was either that or a Cloth 5.
And also got to say Flask Potions for Shifter as well.
He could have done Doran Shield. Like, even though it's nerfed,
Yeah.
it's still very good against auto attack reliant laners.
All right, well, Dignitas late invade here, 137 in. Trinket Ward over the wall. They're going to spot which way Nintendo starts in his jungle. Nintendo actually took a Shock Blast to the face a little bit ago. He's regenning. Chucked a Potion, actually. I'm surprised.
Interesting choice by Kiwi Kid as well. I've been trying to track the support item builds throughout the day. But Cruiser trying to be annoying. Don't fight
Zion's
Jax.
getting the better deal of this one, though. Hammer form, a little bit of movement speed. He's going to have his
Jump
Q up
on
in a
him again?
second. Yep.
There it is.
Wow, and Cruiser only has 1 health potion. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So he's either going to regen off that 3 life per hit, and maybe some lifesteal runes. Did Cruiser run
Yeah,
lifesteal,
he's
by the
running
way?
4%.
Okay, so
Just like an 80 carry would.
and Zion, though, just going in. He's chugged part of his mana bar down, but by going Flask, it's, I believe, what, 60-something mana per charge, so he can keep those jumps going in, pushing Cruiser down. Yeah, Zion's actually doing a good job in this lane. Look at that. He's pushing him around.
Well, high-risk champion taking risks very early on. And considering he's against an Eve, it's a very bold move, but there's actually a counter-jungling opportunity for Crumbs. He's trying to wait for Nintendo X's Elise. Fighting Elise at level 2 isn't wise. Crumbs actually was trying to avoid getting counter-jungled. Let's see if he can wait out this smite, and if Nintendo smites early. Just going for the kill.
There goes in for Nintendo. Has red buff here on Crumbs. Nintendo going to put in some damage, but down to 150. Can he get the rotation from Kassadin in time? Ooh, Crumbs putting him too low to stay in the jungle. Well played.
Yeah, knowing that Shifter's not going to be able to move down to help out, that is a brilliant move by Crumbs.
Right.
Evelyn is not supposed to be a strong early game jungler, and Elise is supposed to be the bully, but Crumbs just caught Nintendo unaware. He didn't think to check around his red buff, because who counter jungles red to red on Evelyn? That doesn't happen.
Yeah, he got all the way around the map, but you're right. And it capitalized off the fact that Shifter's Kassadin, a weak laner, right? Obvious push advantage for Skara. Shifter not able to roam around. A lot of really good things came into play here. Dig happy to let him play the Kassadin. Of course, they knew it coming in. They didn't ban it themselves. And they played around it well. We'll see if it burns him in the end. Crumbs puts the Trinket Ward down. Daydream helping Wiz Fusion kill minions under the turret. With the early push lead going to Dignitas in almost all the lanes. Only top lane right now going well for Coast. So early game is on Zion's shoulders. We'll see how it pans out.
We'll see how Crumbs makes his impact now that he has the blue buff as well. He's going to have to heal. He burned through a lot of health potions, pulling off his red buff maneuver. But I think he's bought his lanes a little bit more time as well, trying to dodge out those early game Elise ganks. There's going to be a lot of jungle play interacting with each other this game instead of just trying to find ganks. Specifically against an Eve, Nintendo's going to want to try and do a lot of jungle invades just to see where she is, because wards don't help you.
It's true they don't. We'll see if they can find him out here. Nintendo a little bit on the back foot. Ironically, has more minion kills, but less gold. Couldn't finish his Spirit Stone on his way back to the base, but clearing the rest of his jungle now. Cruiser level 4. Zion did grab an early Doran's Blade. I believe Cruiser backed without getting to buy any items but potions. So a bit of a lead there. Shifter taking damage from Skara. Honestly, still on the back foot, and it's 15 to 33 in minions. Skara doing very well here.
Yeah, Kassadin actually does decent against Kha'Zix since it is melee champion versus melee champion. Kassadin generally struggles early more against range, but that is another jungle opportunity
Level
here.
lead for Nintendo that puts the stun down onto Crumbs. Crumbs still chasing down, flashes in for the damage. Nintendo lower and lower on health. Does he have to flash away or not?
They're gonna
puts the Q
turn?
down. First blood goes through. Nintendo could have flashed and didn't. He just died.
They were trying to get the double buff turn. There was a miscommunication there. They were hoping that Shifter would flash over the wall and then try and kill Crumbs since he had already burned his flash. That was very close to being a turn, but once again, Crumbs ahead in the calculations. Nintendo did not flash away to safety.
Yeah.
And it gives Crumbs the jungling upper hand.
And just to keep in mind, with Crumbs getting the kill there, he resets the W. W will cleanse slows when used, so there's no way Shifter could have chased him down, even if he
Good
flashed.
thing he didn't flash in.
Yeah. So good patience by Shifter. Unfortunate move there for Nintendo. Not the right call.
His counter jungling continuing as well.
Yeah, he's doing incredibly well there. Levels 4 to 4 top lane. We're still watching very similar minions. Nintendo back to mid.
They're gonna walk right into
though.
Eve.
It's going to be a bit risky. Skara jumps on in. Who's going to take the damage? Crumbs jumping into that battle. Nintendo does have flash. He's going to repel down to a minion. Flashes down to the side. No one in range of him, but loses the summoner spell.
Crumbs putting on a clinic early game right now. And Dignitas as a whole is really trying to pick on Shifter. Very late pick Kassadin. But Dignitas appears very ready for it. 700 gold lead already 6 minutes into the game, just from the laning phase alone.
Such good play here for Dignitas. 3 buffs to 1 early game. The kill as well on the jungler there. Unassisted kill, so a 400 gold kill. Wiz Fusion and Daydream are holding on to this lane. Like, for what it's worth, these guys are going more or less equal. Mid lane going to Scar, top lane going to Zion. We're still going to see this play out over time. Crumb's going to go Lizard Elder here on Evelyn. It's the build we tend to see from the pro tier Evelyn junglers, so that's kind of the de facto build. That's fine.
We're also seeing a Doran's Ring start from Kiwi Kid.
Yeah.
It's fun to track the support itemization now that Doran's Shield has been nerfed and the gold generation line for supports has been updated. Kiwi Kid opting for neither And instead, there's the gank from Cassidy,
Oh,
but
and
he
he breaks
doesn't
his
get the
own
lantern.
Oh, that is rough. Shifter doesn't get it in time.
Oh,
Failed
man.
gank. Lost summoner.
Man, that is rough right there. He does not click lantern time, and it's funny because we talked about how Coast used to be automatic with this, and sometimes in scrims they would still let it through and it'd be like a free win. I
Yeah.
bet you they haven't played this combo in forever, so they're
Possibly
absolutely
not.
rusty in this.
Yeah, we'll see, but it is worth pointing out QtPie and Kiwi Kid both lost their flashes. So aside from Shifter's time, it was a summoner spell positive endeavor.
Watch out.
Level 5 though for Crumbs, no ulti there. Putting some damage down. There comes Cassidon. Uh-oh! Oh, he Qs it in time. Crumbs not a range to smite it away. So, and Scar, well, this is interesting. Scar evolved his ultimate first, which
Yeah.
did get changed. It's 2-second stealth now.
Yeah.
And he passes through minions, I believe, while doing so.
Yes, he does. But the key is the 50% damage reduction while stealthed.
Yeah.
You
Not
do
gonna
not
take
see
much
that
burst.
often, though. That means to me that he's going to evolve his E second. It's almost, I think it's ridiculous for a Cassidy to wait until level 16 before he can get jump resets. It's going to lower his damage in the lane a little bit, but make him nearly, I think, unkillable at this point unless someone brings a pink ward into the lane.
Yeah. Runs far away. Yeah, 3
Whoa.
stealth. They last twice as long to give damage reduction. The knock in onto QtPie. Ignite is there. Not good for the Lucian. Will he go down? Yes, he will. Daydreaming claims the kill. Secures that one nicely. Well played there, Coast bottom lane.
All about the hook. It kind of looked like it caught Cutie mid-dash. So, love to see that again. That was a very slick hook there by Daydream and giving them an advantage 2v2. Bottom lane had to make a play. They made one.
Shifter still on the back end a little bit here, putting damage back on a Scar, though, looking a bit better. Tier was built here for Shifter. Of course, that is a slightly buffed tier. So why the heck not? And now the play for Dragon as well. Coast really showing signs of life now.
It's because they got the kill in the bottom lane. Elise is one of the best Dragon killers in the game, watching the Spiderlings tank. Great moves by Coast all around, even though Shifter has been denied a little bit. That failed gank where he didn't click the lantern really did help them get a kill. They had no flashes in the bottom lane. When that hook landed, it allowed them to even it out, and the gold fought the 12.
So Daydreamin earns his team a kill and a dragon here, Zion Spartan. Now onto the back foot a little bit going this lane. It's worth pointing out he's down 6 minions now.
Yeah.
So Cruiser has turned this around, even off a small item deficit there, not having a flask on his way through here. So 8 for 7, a level lead as well.
One thing to definitely note about Cruiser's skill order on Jace is he is maxing his W second instead of his Q. The old Jaces used to put everything in Q and E because it was all about the Shock Blast combo. But against Jax, Cruiser is leveling his Hypercharge because the 3 auto attacks in quick succession are what is harassing Zion Spartan out of the lane.
And not to mention the acceleration gate no longer goes down in cooldown with rank. So he's like, I don't want the disengage for the increased damage E. I'm just going to go for the W, the Hypercharge. Pretty good skill there. Brutalizer Rush for Cruiser, Phage for Zion Spartan. But it's still more poke damage. It's going to be very scary for poor Zion here.
I feel like Cruiser's really going to take some power in that lane unless Zion gets help, which is what Nintendo X is on the way for.
Going to be there by the time Cruiser comes back. Cruiser going to face check this brush. Nintendo.
Zion's not close. Oh, didn't board the brush. So he actually feels a lot safer than he should right now. There's a low percentage chance that Nintendo was in that brush, and they want Cruiser to jump on him.
Going to find the stun. Will they go in for anything? No,
There's
he's going to
the
actually pull Cruiser in. So here comes Elise. Nintendo goes in for the Q. Can he get the cocoon? The flash doesn't quite land. It pops the barrier anyway. Cruiser without summoners.
Doesn't matter that it didn't kill him. They have a huge minion wave. They have him low, and they have 2 people top lane. They're going to try to get the turret. In response, Dignitas might try a dive.
Oh, they're going to definitely crush this bottom lane right now. Crumb's already there. Takes a shot to the back of the head. Doesn't care too much. Looks like they're going to be a turret trade here in Zion. Getting some much needed relief though in this lane. Going to suck up a bit of experience. The 80 carries, I got to say, I'm a QtPie holding up much better now. 94 to 80 in minions and the turret kill. So Dignitas bottom lane looking pretty sharp. Look back towards the mid lane and you've got Tiamat already done for Skara, as well as that 23 minion kill lead.
Take a step back a little bit. The fact that Shifter's a 61 farm is actually pretty good for Coast. I think it was a really clever move what Nintendo X just did in that top lane. Because this is the exact moment in the lane where Zion was going to lose to Cruiser because of the atomization of the Brutalizer. This buys Coast a lot of time. Even though Dignitas was able to respond, really great play to buy the time.
Oh, well done right here. 100 gold separates these teams. Again, the minion deficit being really held up because of the dragon that Daydreamin earned for the team thanks to that hook onto QtPie, if you call your attention back a few minutes. That's why the gold is so close. Shifter still waiting to get to late game. Picked up a blasting wand. I'm curious if he wants to delay his late game longer and still go for Rod of Ages, or if he's just like gonna rush a Seraphs and then just continue from there with
He's
the
going
offensive
Seraphs.
build.
Even last year, we saw a lot of Kassadins not even go Rod of Ages. They would go Seraphs and Azania's Hourglass just for more damage and, in a sense, more tankiness as well. It's another path to go. You have less max health. It's harder to execute Kassadin,
Yeah.
but still very effective.
I think he's just itemizing against the missing health damage from Kha'Zix. Less likely. I mean, technically, yes, the shield helps there, but
We'll go with it.
sure, I'm making stuff up as I go. But as long as it makes sense, you'll believe me. Kiwi Kid chilling by the mid lane. Looks like Dignitas ignoring the bot lane for now because they want to keep pressuring Shifter's poor lonesome turret. Goes forth to defend that, and Dignitas actually get their way in on towards the blue buff. This is actually really good blue to steal. This is about the time that Kassadin starts becoming a little bit more important, and the blue just goes away from him.
And remember the last time they didn't successfully get the steal, which is one of the reasons Shifter's been able to stick around.
Yeah.
He won't be able to spam nearly as much with his pistol.
Looks like Shifter's doing a much better job of holding onto his lane now. He's kind of stopped bleeding CS. The siege mid didn't do much. It did, however, make a gigantic wave of Coast crash up against the turret, and PewDiePie is just now controlling these minions and getting the gold back in.
Yeah.
But it was a missed push opportunity there. That's not going to happen. Very little damage put in. Bloodthirster is done for WizFusion. Gold's definitely there for PewDiePie at this point. So the AD carries will mirror their builds soon. And I want to see now how the top lane duel continues, though. Zion Spartan, right? He's been the guy. This is still a pretty solo lane focused team. Kassadin and Jax both able to make plays.
I feel like Jax will outscale Jason dueling potential straight up pretty shortly. Probably once he gets level 11 or once he gets the Trinity Force. Dignitas, I think, needs to do more right now. There's a lot of solo lane potential from Jax.
2 versus 2
but
fight.
there's
Cruiser
an
not going to
E2.
get stunned. Crumbs is around. Do they have the damage? Dodge comes in. Zion, heavy damage onto Cruiser. Can he chase the kill down?
Good
Knocked
knockback.
back. There comes the Lantern, though, from Daydream. And can he pull the team in for this fight? Oh, almost gets the hook, but Crumbs finds one. Answered back by Zion Spartan. Double buff Jax.
That's the biggest thing. Buff transfer complete right there for Zion Spartan. He will be able to use that gold as well for more items. Even though the 1-for-1 isn't that great, overall, the double buffs will make it worth it in the long run.
He's going to have a fun time chasing down Cruiser, who did burn his barrier again in that fight. Cruiser's flash, of course, was still down. Zion has double summoners. Zintendude actually had flash and didn't use it during that fight.
Again,
Partially let
it's
himself go
second
down.
death without
flashing.
away.
Do the Evelyn know that? No less either.
Although he's had reasons for that. He wanted
True.
to stay engaged in the fight last time. The flash may not have saved him. It was very, very close fight. And it's interesting because I feel like Nintendo X gets a lot of flack from the community for being such a long-standing jungler in the LCS. You know, most deaths in LCS history for NA. But even in his solo queue, he is top 50 last season. He is challenger now. He is a very quality player, but the style he plays within Coast leads to him dying a lot. His solo lanes are probably greedier in the sense that they get more farm channel to them than any other solo lane combo in the LCS. And Nintendo is the one that has to just help it get going every game. He has to come and gank, and he has to jump in fights. Remember, Coast runs one-tank combinations more often than not, and it's always Nintendo.
Yeah.
Plus, he's working with diminished gold. He is set up to die. That is Coast strategy. It is just Nintendo dies, and everyone else will do things.
I mean,
So he has to do clever things, and his deaths aren't always his fault.
This is the guy who played Jungle Leona, who played Jungle Tank Fiddlesticks, rushed a Golem Spirit. Like, he just finds tanks playing. It's like, yeah, I got crowd control. If I die, it's fine. I got my combo off. And that's the champions he plays. Dignitas giving blue buffs to Crumbs, and they go for the Dragon now themselves. 60 minutes in, it respawns, and it's going to be a pretty easy pickup there for Dignitas. 1 of 2. Trading these back and forth. Fourth, Dig 1,400 gold in the lead. This bottom lane not to be pushed for much longer.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. Wow, flash!
The hook comes in a little bit late. The box comes down. Jademan trying to run away. Nice damage coming across. Coast really disengaging that fight nicely.
Yeah.
Trading ultis.
And the disengage is going to be really key for Coast if Silent Spartan develops a split push later into this game. The fact they could do it there, very good. But Shifter, don't walk into that trap. He's safe.
I gotta point out the differences in support some more. Sork Shoes rush for Kiwi Kid.
Yeah.
He's almost their only match damage aside from Crumbs.
Yeah, he's looking to do big damage with that Doran's Ring stuff as well.
3-man ulti from Crumbs gets hooked in. Skara around the side as well. Jumps in. Lot of damage. Picks up Daydreamin'. Can they keep going? WizFusion low on health, flashing away. Nintendo low. Has flash. Do they have enough? Shifter shows up. Big slow comes in. Jumps in. Finds one. Finds two. This could be the battle that Coast is looking for. It's looking pretty good.
Huge turn right there. Shifter, I believe, had a couple Rift Walk stacks. Overchased by Dignitas. Scar with his evolved ultimate. Got caught with his ultimate down. Turret and kills for Coast. Big swing of the game right there.
Well, they let Shifter get Kassadin, and he escaped the landing phase without dying. Russian Archangel Stab, not even Boots, doesn't care. Just jumps in for it.
At this point, too, Crumbs' shield didn't have much of an impact for him. And really, I think Dignitas overcommitted. The Tibbers was not up at this point. Cutie Pie had used his culling already, and the turn is absolutely there. Shifter, just too much damage with Force Pulse combined with ultimate. The slap in the face for the double.
That wasn't even stacked up, the ulti.
No.
I didn't see him charge it at all throughout that fight. Just the E into R combo, doing some decent damage. He's looking happy. Skara, level 10 in the mid lane.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Shifter maxed his Force Pulse before his Q, which is one of the reasons that E just blew everybody up so much. Even though it was nerfed from 280 to 240, it is still his highest base damage spell, and he took full benefit of it. There.
Gets the most damage per rank up. It says, all right, I'll go for that one here. I like that. It's something to definitely consider there for the Kassadins. Blue buff going to Shifter, his second of the game. Nintendude level 9 right here. Actually did buy 2 Ruby Crystals in a row. They only cost 400 gold now. So we bought them both. I guess Kindle Gem costs more than it does before. It's a 450 upgrade.
Yeah.
So he maybe not,
He
maybe
probably
couldn't have
went back
afforded it last
quite
time.
enough. He'll eventually go Golem Spirit and then probably a Haunting Guise.
Yeah.
If he is to continue.
Mid lane turret now under siege. 2-1 in turrets for Coast. They're winning by most of the team metrics. Though still down in minions here so far. Zion Spartan yet to complete his Trinity Force, Double Doran's Blade. Ninja Tabby as well to defend against Cruiser. Cruiser going for a Bloodthirster. So the Muramana Jace not the build here, even with the tier buffs. Going for just hardcore AD Jace.
And I think it was going to work out for Cruiser when he went back and got the Brutalizer. He was in a position to destroy Zion in that lane. But I still do give credit to Nintendude for setting up that gank. I really think that swung the lane. Some very dangerous directions. Now Cruiser is kind of playing from behind. I think the ideal for Dignitas is he lands a couple good shock blasts before a fight as Crumbs comes around from the back with Eve, and then Scar can theoretically get resets. But pulling something off like that against Coast, who is so heavy in the disengage, is really difficult. Coast, despite the gold being 200 against them, I think are far in the lead right now.
They're looking good right here. Daydreamin grabs cooldown boots for what it's worth, so both these guys going for combat boots, the two supports here. Daydreamin, only 15 CDR, checked his stat sheet, no cooldown runes or masteries, but he's going to grab Ascension later on for 35 CDR. That'll be fun for him. A lot of hooks, a lot of boxes. The engage comes down. Kiwi Kid finds Nintendo to jump in. Kiwi Kid explodes immediately. Box doesn't even get touched, doesn't matter. Skara doesn't quite get to block the ulti coming in from Caitlyn. Cruiser is low.
Yeah, one thing about going Sorcerer's Shoes Doran's Ring on Annie is he forgets how squishy he actually is.
Yeah.
A lot of Annie support builds have been surprisingly tanky. There's not even a Sightstone worth of health on him. He got destroyed.
Poor guy right there. Mid lane turret goes down 3-1 now. And 5-3 and kills Zion Spartan. He sees Cutie Pie and says, I want to kill you. Shifter comes around. Nice flash by Cutie Pie. Gets him away, though.
Yeah, being able to dodge the Force Pulse, absolutely critical. Crumbs, though, stalking a little bit. They might try the flank right here. Kha'Zix is behind them as well.
Cruiser dangerously low.
Kiwi Kid just keeping him interested. Here
Get away
comes.
from this one. All right, here we go. The engage. Can they find an intended slow down? A lot of burst coming across. Will he drop? He Elises into the air. The rappel comes down. There's a shock blast. Going to be 1. Going to be 2 kills picked up. Dignitas big turnaround.
Really good flanking there. And Kiwi Kid had a pretty damn good bait right there.
Yeah.
What's an Annie going to do that has absolutely no Tibbers? They wanted to kill him again. Christ.
That's some good damage. That's some good damage. Shifter keeping them away from the mid turret. Shifter, being a Kassadin, still hasn't lost his turret.
Yeah.
One of the only guys to keep his turret alive, actually, is Kassadin, ironic as that seems.
Yeah, he's done a lot of force pulsing at the turret to keep it alive. Big damage coming down on Cutie Pie, though.
Would you say he's kept the turret's pulse alive?
Yeah, he's kept it pulsing alive. Go for it. This fight, though, was a good eVault specifically, and then Dignitas just knew how to follow. Skara jump backwards for fun afterwards, but there was no chasing to be done. It means that if Dignitas gets that ideal fight with Crumbs coming in behind them and Kha'Zix going in, it can still be a good time.
Zion Spartan getting the red buff for himself. Trinity Force done. Starting on Blade of the Ruin King. Maxing Q, maxing W. 1 point in the dodge. I forget which one he maxed first. I never actually checked that. I feel bad for not doing it, but I didn't look. But 1 point in dodge, all you Jaxes out there. That's the Zion Spartan way. Force Pulse already max Shifter. 1 point to go still in the queue. But 150 CS now on Kassadin, 2-0 and 1. I think it's safe to say Shifter has successfully escaped the early game rather well.
And now the question will be how Dignitas locks him down in team fights. It's an interesting thought, too, as they take another Dragon. Try to figure out, how Kassadin existed for so long with the same Force Pulse mechanics and was never really a big problem in competitive play.
Yeah.
Right? Until basically end of Season 3 when he was just assumed to be too good. There's a Baron, though, coming down. A lot of split push. I'll get to Kassadin later.
Well, it's going to be Kassadin versus the world if he wants to stop the Baron. 23 minutes in a very early attempt.
they
It
gotta
goes
give up
past to no by this point.
At the very least, all Shifter's going to be doing here is trying to delay Dignitas from backing. I don't think he can actually stop this Baron, but he could probably maybe even get a kill.
We get recalls. Scar is low. Shifter doesn't know that, though. He can look for Cutie Pie, and he could probably beat him out in the 1v1. Doesn't find the damage, though. Bottom lane turret goes down. Inhibitor's going to fall as well, so 2 turrets for Baron. Similar gold, to be honest, with those two.
Yeah. We've heard an inhibitor for Baron being about the trade-off, where they're arguably the same because the Baron team can defend the inhibitor for a bit. But when you give away 2 turrets, I'd say that is definitely to the benefit of Coast. But Kassadin.
Yeah. So you know, Jat.
I feel like teams used to be...
No, okay, that's fine. Mine was useless.
You're going to make a joke.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we'll wait on that. The game used to have a lot more hard CC in it.
Yeah.
And much longer durations.
Yes.
I think even Fiddlesticks, Fear used to be 3 seconds, Ram's Taunt used to be 3 seconds. There were a lot more 2-second stuns in the game. And also, champions are more about mobility and slows, or move speed enhances. So you can slow Kassadin as much as you want, you're not going to stop him. Whereas in the past, you would have many more people who could stun him when he was going in and shut him down. Now there is not nearly as many countermeasures to what he is accomplishing on the map, which I think is one of the big reasons he's found so much success.
Yeah. A lack of point-and-click stun creep, I suppose, which is fine. I don't necessarily
Which is
like
great.
point-and-click stuns.
It's the direction that the game has taken, and it's generally a good direction. It just means Kassadin has gotten incrementally stronger.
Yes, absolutely. So, the joke I was going to make, this is hilarious, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So
and it's even better because we've been waiting for it for so long.
Oh my gosh, the payoff, it's so immense. So the joke was made, part of the joke is not mine, that Kassadin got buffed in this patch because he couldn't even escape the pick and ban phase. He was that weak. So now his pick and ban phase has been buffed, so we see him in the game.
Yeah, I know.
And now
he
he gets to play.
Are you saying he escaped the early game because he got out of picks and bans?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, basically.
I told you that joke.
I know, I didn't say it was mine.
All right.
I had a disclaimer saying not my joke, then continued. So if it's hilarious, people can still credit me. If it's not, be like, it wasn't my joke.
All right. Jats. No, it wasn't. I found it on Reddit. But anyway, Coast. Coast has done a good job here. Even though Dignitas has the Baron buff, not letting Dignitas take any advantages off of it. Oftentimes when a team gets Baron, they will use it to gain lane farm and grow the gold back in the game.
The cop tweet. Yes. Wait, no. Boo. Boo. Cop. Boo. You would have been
Dignitas
immediately
wants to
cured.
find a fight, though, with this last minute and a half.
Wiz Fusion is not
He's
in
a
a good
little
spot.
bit cut.
Oh, he dodges it. Oh, crumbs. That is... No. Intended.
Oh
my
my.
gosh. That's 2 ultimates now.
Huge, because Zion is still split pushing. It doesn't matter if Dick has that Baron buff. They're going to lose a turret for this.
This is not good for Dignitas right now. There we go. Top lane turret. Thud, 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 thud. Zion's going to take this down pretty
And here's
quickly.
the game that Coast loves to play. Wait for someone to go for Zion Spartan, and then Shifter comes as well, and they continue the push.
He's there. He's waiting. He's got the Zonias. Scar gets revealed. That's one of the things I like about Kadol is it reveals your target as you go, so they can like track more of Dignitas for longer. Be like, okay, Scar's near top. By the way, he's around. If someone's near him, they'll see him as well.
Ooh. Also, Cutie Pie went with the Ghost Blade on Lucian.
Yes.
He's done this before. And people generally agreed that he was messing around because they were winning the game by a lot.
I think it's good.
It's not the case here. It is his legitimate build. He will pop it during the culling.
Yeah.
To gain move speed and damage, basically.
50% attack speed,
Yeah.
which is pretty high for an item slot. That's what Phantom Dancer gives. So he's got a Phantom Dancer with attack speed, 20 flat armor pen, then goes for Last Whisper.
Only
so
for the
he's-
4 seconds with which it's active.
Yeah, which is fine. Culling doesn't even last that long. I think it's great, but it makes him really ult-reliant and does lower his DPS in fights. He has very, very little crit right now.
It's pretty good armor pen, though, especially when he combos it with Last Whisper, the way armor penetration stacks. But they're going to need him to do a lot. I suppose it fits their team composition if he is only trying to maximize culling damage, trying to get as many people low as possible so Scar can jump in. And it's a heavier poke-based comp right here.
Okay.
Off
Here
to the
comes
races.
Dig. Zion Spartan doesn't even see Crumbs, doesn't need to. He's all right. Shifter, Nintendo, they're around. And you got Wiz Fusion and Daydream and chilling mid, though. They're kind of keeping the push going on one side. The rest of the team kind of chilling at the top. Dignitas definitely on the back foot right now. They're the defending team. They've got a little bit of poke. They've got Scar Spines. They've got Cruiser poke. Sola. All right. He'll be back, though.
His items are getting pretty good, too.
Yeah. Oh,
Last
man.
Whisper Brutalizer.
Cruiser's hitting some painful points
He's
right
going to
here.
want to get a Black Cleaver. If he gets a Black Cleaver, it'll be very, very good since, as we said earlier, they're pretty much all physical damage. And they're going to need to start shredding through at least Nintendo, who is the soul tank and is doomed to die in these games.
Yeah. See if you can dodge more spells with Repel or something, though.
But this split push is really going to be a problem. Zion Spartan's at a point where he can definitely destroy Cruiser in a 1v1, and Coast is consistently having to pull back for him. It's strange that Zion is pushing that side of the map, because they have littered the top lane with wards. It would be better for him to do that if they were trying to get picks.
Yeah.
But those wards will still come in handy in about a minute and a half for the ones that stay up, because they can get control around the Baron pit.
And I really got to commend Coast, though. They have really, really good ward coverage here, though. Dig are just now sweeping them out. Baron's up in a minute 15. Dig might be slightly late to the party, though, if they can't get rid of all the wards in time. Dragon is up as well. No one's yet gone towards it, though.
It's worth a lot of gold at this
all
point
right.
in the game.
Oh, wait, they don't see Crumbs. That's a green ward. Wait.
They do.
Okay, he did see him. Take it back. Crumbs not in the best spot right now. Does have Flash. Gets Cocoon, though. Kate ult's going to come across. Low health on the Crumbs. I don't know how they saw him, but the damage comes through. Shifter picks it up.
I believe Freak, he had used his W for the move speed, therefore he was revealed and had not re-stealthed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that is the ward control that they get. They could spot Crumbs wherever he was. Or if it turns out it's not, the replay will show that Daydream literally sees the future. But I believe they could see it.
He saw it in a daydream. The headsets are slightly soundproof, but I can still hear the groans from the audience.
I understand.
Oh my god. It's the best feeling in commentating.
For now.
Like Riv got to commentate that crazy Zion Spartan, or the crazy like Shifter like TSM Nexus
And
kill.
you just get to make people feel uncomfortable. But at this point, when he dropped the ward, he revealed.
He was already channeling the hook though.
What the heck?
Yeah, I want
could've
to see that from
sworn he was
farther back.
invisible. Yeah.
Because he was invisible at the time. I could have
You're
sworn.
so demanding, Freak.
I just want to
Yeah.
know because that was awesome.
It was. But
I'm
this
just gonna
Baron is going to be really huge right now because the pink ward's getting control. This could very well be a fight. Nice catch. There's
Done
the
on the
Cocoon.
Kiwi Kid. The hook's going to land
Oh,
as
no.
well. He is not in a good spot. Wiz Fusion claims the kill that his team set up for him. 3-0-1 on Shifter. Oh, man. They've started the Baron. There's no vision control. Crumbs eats a trap, so they know that he is around.
There
Do
could
they
still
risk?
be-
There's the hook. There's the jump in. The play backwards. Goodbye to Evelyn. But can Kha'Zix make it happen? Scar, can he try?
a lot of
Cruiser picks up
damage.
one. Zion jumps over towards the Baron pit, but here comes Skara. Can he get the damage? Blade of the Rune King used. Zion gets away from this one with his fusion. Not in a good spot. Can he pick up the kill? Doesn't quite kill off Cruiser.
Casket
shows
is
up.
still existing, though. It's a 2-for-2.
Oh!
Scar
Blue
Lord!
Trinket! Skara blocks it. I like that.
Yeah, blue trinket Caitlyn so she can call her shots, basically. Man, that
Yes.
fight was close.
Oh,
There's
man.
a lot of squishy assassins in this game. That's
yeah.
one of these reasons these fights are so explosive. It's like the opposite of last game, where we had nothing but tanks and support and mid laners. Everybody wants to kill right here.
Everybody wants to kill everyone else. Kiwi Kid finally did make his way towards Talisman of Ascension and Sightstone. He's got the standard support repertoire of items now. Skara, Ravenous Hydra done. Adds a Hex Drinker for good choice.
Yeah, so nice catch on a Kiwi Kid right here, but the big thing happened with the follow-up shortly after when Dignitas went. Watch all the AoE damage they bursted right after Coast came over the wall, and it was scary when Coast came over the wall. Dignitas did not have much time to react, but everyone could support this. The culling, I believe, came out right there with the Ghost Blade on it, as well as getting a couple resets from Scar, which is just the big clump that Coast kind of has to avoid. This is why they want to do split pushing with Silent Spartan and having Shifter come in at the end of things, because if it starts like that, Dignitas may as well have the upper hand.
Yeah, as you say, Coast don't really team fight. They don't really want to. Baron, of course, is available. You did see WizFusion soloed the Dragon in the aftermath of that last fight. That's kind of all of Coast's gold lead right now, though. It's a very close game.
Shifter in the bottom lane. This gives Dignitas a bit of a window to at least control the terrain right now. They're going to try and kill us as fast as possible. Kha'Zix murders Baron. I don't think they can make it in time.
Their inflog of 4 Kha'Zix did get nerfed. That Q for minions did go down a little bit, or monsters, I should say. Dune puts the lantern down. They've got wards as well. Can they find the fight? Baron goes down.
But they're trapped in the pit.
Kiwik is going to engage onto Nintendo X. Can this fight happen now for these guys? Tibbers going to drop down, picks up the kill. Culling comes down. Good damage. Coast forced to run backwards. This is a good fight for Dignitas. They get the Baron and they get out.
Yeah, great job forcing a very confined 5v5 fight if they were to take it, and having the Baron beforehand. And it's not necessarily Freak that Coast doesn't team fight all the time. It's that they don't team fight conventionally, because they almost never have full tank lines. Because Zion split pushes so much, they would much rather collapse and find 5v4s than fight straight up 5v5s, which is exactly what Dignitas was forcing them to do there, which is one of the big reasons it worked.
And they made it happen. The late game shot calling still holding up for Dig. The Baron calls.
That one worked.
That one worked. They're 2 for 2 on Barons, to be fair. They lost an inhib for one of them.
Yeah.
But
and
this one was
it's
just
kind of
clean.
similar to the call that lost them the game against CLG.
Yeah.
Like, people always rag on Dignitas because they, quote, throw games at Baron Pit. And while sometimes they lose games based off what happens at Baron, Baron is the thing that creates action in League of Legends in the late game.
Yeah.
And Dignitas is often the team creating that action. So sometimes they lose the game. Recently, it's been more often than they're able to give themselves advantages. But that one was a really good Baron call. It was using the strategic positioning of Baron to their advantage, because that's what their team comp favors.
And it was a well-done battle there. Kiwi Kid adding some more durability thanks to his gold from all the Baron money coming through. Looking for Negatron Cloak. Likely to be the Spectre's Cowl. I don't think he'd use Abyssal Scepter here. That'd be a little weird. 2 Hex Drinkers, 2 Merc Treads on the team for Dignitas. Of course, they know magic damage fairly heavy from Coast.
All the Negatron Cloaks are quite important for them. They're going to try, I think they want to catch from Daydreaming onto a squishy target like Skara.
Oh.
They get crumbs. That's not who they wanted.
Not as squishy. But the
Look at
engage
the
comes in.
speed!
Kiwi Kid finds WizFusion. WizFusion goes down. Scar does not find much more, but Crumbs finds a slow. The jump back from Shifter. The chase still going through. The shield from Shifter keeping him alive. Going to be blocked out by Zion as well, but the 1 for 0, big for Dignitas.
The acceleration gate supercharges Kiwi Kid as they go through there. They can take a lot more off of that fight.
It's looking good for Dignitas. Middle inhibitor turret goes down. Middle inhibitor itself soon to follow. 30 seconds on the respawn for
The
AD
inhibitor
carry.
is dead. That's a visual bug. Do not worry about that one. They did not leave that inhibitor with the sliver.
Going to be all right. And Dignitas go through the jungle, make sure nothing's left available. Dragon's still gone. Baron's still being warned by these guys. Shifter already ready for something in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Coast's split push has fallen apart based on the initiation from Dignitas and the forcing of the Baron. Zion Spartan has not been able to get going in a side lane or really in any fights whatsoever. And despite heavy ward coverage from Coast in this game, they haven't been able to get fights either. But watch that flash through the acceleration gate to just blow up WizFusion and end the fight. Even though they could only get 1 kill, the damage they were able to put down on the rest of Coast was enough to give them turret pressure. So Dignitas was just a good go button right there. Acceleration gate to flash Tibbers.
Very well done by these guys. Zion Spartan now the bottom lane split push, still putting money in his hands. Randuin's Owen picked up. Dignitas definitely a bit physical heavy, though Kiwi Kid contributing somewhat.
Yeah.
Kitty by starting a Lizard buff for himself. He's maturing his build quite nicely. Has Last Whisper building towards an Infinity Edge next as well. So low attack speed build, low crit build, but the IE will be coming soon.
And even in the fights that they're winning, he's kind of just using the culling.
Yeah.
To chase people down with that enhanced movement speed from the Ghost Blade. If he was to fight a straight-up duel with WizFusion after his Ghost Blade was down, he'd probably get destroyed. But for the situation they're using it, the build is working.
Definitely is. Dignitas waiting for their engages pretty patiently. Fusion grabs himself. He did upgrade the Farsight Orb, by the way. Farsight Orb, the name of the Tier 3 one. Cooldown goes from 150 to 90 with this one, and has pretty good range, so can pretty frequently check for people. 3,000.
Which is pretty much the entire screen, a little bit more. If we were to, like, from left to right there.
Really? I thought it was more than that.
About
That's fine.
2,000. I don't know.
Okay, whatever. See where this one goes. Minion's dying. Cocoon! Yes! Nintendo stunned the caster minion. Well played, sir. He's still waiting on his Randuin's Omen to be done, though. Only one tank item done for Zion Spartan, the Poke. The Black Cleaver also, you mentioned that one. That's done for Cruiser. Also, Spectre's Cowl done for 3 members of Dignitas and Coast. They're going to give away the pressure on this turret. So now 6 turrets for Dig.
Yeah. And split push has been effectively shut down
Yeah.
as far as Zion Spartan goes. Sweeper's coming out, triple sweeper as well. The ward control that Coast once had has completely disappeared. They're looking for a catch, but Dignitas is not giving them that opportunity. They're sticking together very well.
Good stuff by these guys. Not giving the pickoffs any room. Shifter hasn't died, to be fair. He's had pretty good presence in this game, but unfortunately can't get the fights to go into his favor. Kills away some of these minions. Level 17 on him. Of course, Seraph's Embrace has been long completed for him. Never went Rod of Ages, that's fine. Void Staff done. Dignitas, they're kind of trading farm. They do give it to Cutie Pie in this case. We're in this lull. Coast, of course, happy to play passively until Baron times out, which is about this time. Still waiting for the tank items to be coming through for these frontliners for Coast. Zion is trying to get durable at this point.
Yeah, he wants to be the carry and the tank. He's talked about his Jax builds in the past where once he gets enough gold, he just does everything.
Yeah.
Because Blade of the Ruin King plus Trinity Force is enough.
I guess you could say he's a Jax of all trades.
No, I would not say that.
I
I'd say
would.
he's Jax. Damn it, Frank.
I got applause. Yes, I got applause for that one. Oh my gosh. You have never made me so happy before in my life.
Oh, man.
Crumbs eats another trap on his way over to the Dragon. Dignitas have been taking control of this objective as well. Undefeated in Barons, they've now, starting to split the Dragons now 2 of 5.
They're getting the objective control back.
Yeah, they are.
And as the Barons continue to respawn, I feel like Dignitas has got an increasingly important advantage off of each one. The first one, even though they gave up 2 turrets and an inhibitor, didn't cost them because they ended up defending it in the long run. Second one gave them a lot of Coast turrets. If they can get a third one, it may actually give them the game. They're at that point.
Keep a good looker for the engage. Can he find anything? Continues. He's got to jump into the air. He's going to flash first, taking a bunch of pain. Finally jumps up. Crumbs getting slowed down. Lantern comes down. Scar accuse him in time. Down goes Nintendo. Scar prefers Sega. They're going to go mid.
They're just going to continue to go this one, just going right past that. Dignitas pushing in very hard here for the inhibitor, knowing they have a 4v5.
And it's going to be a lot of damage coming through. This one loses the health bar, drops down. Dignitas going to back up. They know Baron's up. They got 30 seconds. Likely to be hard for Coast to contest.
They're slowly breaking Coast.
Yeah.
One small fight after another. Because Coast is so heavily mobile, even with the speed of Dignitas, it's usually just one at a time. But then they will brute force 5v5 afterwards and get their objective.
And this is going to be the objective of Baron here. Off the back of the inhibitor. There we go. Picked up. Good smite by Crumbs. Baron number 3 of 3. Dignitas definitely winning the global game. Coast, to be fair, still actually has a turret lead. As odd as that seems, they're still up in that score.
Yeah.
The kills are close, but Dig they're controlling the map. We've said it a few times, but it's true. Dig doing a very good job of making all these rotations work, of making the picks and capitalizing off of them so very well. Crumbs looking for a pick right now. Knows there's just so little ward control by Coast. He can run around like this, and he's safe.
Yeah. A lot of new stuff today as well on the 4.3 patch. You know, Jace coming out, Caston finally getting out of pick ban phase, and Coast desperately trying to hold off right here. Crumbs is trying to flank because there is that exposed entrance in the mid lane, and there could very well be a turret time. The flash on Kiwi Kid is up if he wants to get a Tibbers on any of these subsequent waves.
See what they can grab here. Sweeper's used.
That's a little early for that.
Human.
That is a little early for that culling. They use it to combo with their team fights.
Uh-oh, they're going to find a little bit of CC. The acceleration gate letting the team run back and forth looking for the engage.
Wiz Fusion flashed.
Wow, yeah, he did. He was afraid of Kiwi Kid.
Now he's pretty screwed, I think, in the next fight, because all Kiwi Kid has to do is flash on him now for the stun. And it might be game over.
And the kills for Daydreamin has the Lantern as well, but that might not be enough for this guy. Zion red elixired up. Going towards a Thornmail as well, his next item. Can they defend this turret, though? Baron buff, of course, on Dignitas, going to help their cause. Hook not going to land. Push in now for the inhibitor. Dignitas 5 versus 5. Baron buff on these guys. Bottom lane minions not going to do too much in that corner of the map.
Pretty big wave, but...
Actually, it might take the inhib. I take it back.
It would probably take the inhib if Coast can stop them from pushing here. That's why Dignitas is pinging back for that one. Someone's got to go deal with it.
And the recalls are coming through. Baron, of course, not available for taking. And there's honestly no turrets that are even easy to reach for Coast here. The bottom inhibitor dropping very quickly. KiwiKid's going over. I don't know, man.
Faster!
Inhibitor is going to try to live. Ah, Kha'Zix, the hero of the Rift. Keeping the inhib alive, making it look close. Woo.
Damn. That
It stands.
is actually really important for the overall game.
Yeah.
Coast needs that time of that inhibitor being down to get some farm back up on Zion, to get Fusion having more items, and to get his flashback as well on Caitlyn. So good save there by Dignitas.
So it's worth noting, actually, that though Dignitas has a gold lead, GDPie spent his chunk of it on a Banshee's Veil. So the offensive itemization is actually equal between AD carries.
Yes.
Top laner's fairly close as well. I feel like they're both at like 3 major completed items. I take it back. There's 4 for Cruiser, so that's a lead.
Yeah. You're trying to, you're seeing.
I'm
that
seeing like where the break
completed
points are.
items of each team.
Yeah, like
are
who's a
really
big
even.
player.
I would say right now, KiwiKid probably has a bit of an edge item-wise because his Banshee's Veil is completed on Annie, so he's got a bit of tankiness when he goes in. And the tankiness of Crumbs is actually very concerning for Coast, not being able to get an Eve out of their backline.
And he's going towards, I think, a Frozen Heart last.
Most likely. Yeah, because it's not like Shifter's going to be killing Eve at this point. He needs Scar, Cutie Pie, and Cruiser down. So he can go straight armor and really just worry about that. There's the flash on Fusion.
Fusion's going to be alive for now. The engage onto Scar. The stun's coming across. A lot of damage coming through. Science part of the front line. Who's going to be going down? Tibbers is there. Daydreamin falls. 1 for 0. Turret drops as well. Cutie Pie going far into the back line. Another kill picked up onto Nintendo. Wiz Fusion on the backside. Not in a good spot. He goes down as well. 3-0 for Dig. They're going to keep on moving for this one. Wow, Shifter pops the shield late. Still has to get away from this one. Another inhibitor's going to fall. This is going to be Dig's game.
Dig was just relentless in those last team fights. 1 Nexus turret down. There's the second. GG to Dignitas.
Dignitas going to go 3-0 versus Coast in the season so far, keeping on the hold of their 4th place spot. Great end of the day here for Dignitas.
Yeah, and they kind of clawed their way back in that one. 44-minute game. They did let Kassadin through the pick and ban phase 2, and Shifter got off to a very respectable start. But Dignitas grouped up. They did not let Kassadin assassinate their targets. They stopped the split push of Zion Spartan, which is not what other teams have been able to do when he gets rolling. All in all, even though Dignitas went 1-1 today, I'd say it was an impressive performance.
Yeah, they've played very well so far this week. I think there's high hope for the Dig fans here throughout Super Week. They've put on some good performances, a couple of shaky calls, but overall, good performance by the team. Cheers to the team. You can kind of see the exhaustion on their face. Dignitas also played some very close games there. Last game of the day for these guys. Of course, still smiles there. And it's worth noting, Kassadin now 0-2 in the NA LCS.
Yeah, Pobelter was the first one to play. It's not necessarily that free win right there. They had a lot of potential to do some big things in that game, but it was really just Dignitas making stronger team fight calls.
Yeah.
And you could also score it Baron 1, Dignitas 1, because the Baron really helped them propel forward in this game. The fact they continued to force it, that they were even trading an inhibitor for it at one point, were all very beneficial for them in the long run.
Yeah, it did work out completely. The map pressure kind of ended after the Baron got picked up. It was like Coast kept pushing forward and getting more and more and more, and then once that first Baron came in, it just sort of stopped. Dig got all their map control back. It was actually funny, too, because off that first Baron, Coast had that scattering of wards you talked about before, right?
And
Zion was chilling
they were
bottom
never
lane.
able to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
You know, when they broke the inhibitor wall of Dignitas, they couldn't get any farther. Coast kept that defended, didn't ever let that push into their base, and then they just weren't exposing themselves. They were in a full turtle while that Baron was up.
Yeah.
And just waited until they got stronger. They knew that they would be able to just steamroll through with the Tibbers and the acceleration gate. It was almost like a makeshift Sivir composition because of the acceleration gate and the way they were just stampeding in those team fights. And I think it really caught Coast off guard.
I mean, the math on acceleration gate has got to be really close to Sivir ulti. It decays as well, starts off high. Even if you maxed it last, didn't really matter. And the cool thing is you can refresh it too, so you can go in, be like, actually I don't, and then get the heck out just as fast. And we saw that a couple of times. KiwiKid was like, you burn flash, cool him out.
And it was kind of cool because they had so much stuff just flying directly at Coast with the culling and the shock blast and the Kha'Zix stuff.
Yeah, it worked out. They threw stuff at Coast. It worked out, pushed them back, took the base down. Now, guys, for a little post-game reaction, we're going to throw it over to Riv and a member of Dignitas.
Thank you very much, Jat and Freak. We are hanging down here Riffside with Crumbs after their victory. A very nice and well-played game. I got to start off with the Eve play. We saw a bit of it from Snoopy today. He tried some counter jungling. It didn't work as well. Why did you counter jungle on Eve, and why did it work so well this game?
I think as Eve, you really have a good advantage early game that there's no wards dropped, especially no pink wards. So going into the jungle, I felt very comfortable. And we had an early ward into the Elise red buff. So just seeing that early ward allows me to map out a path in my mind as to what Elise is going to be going, like what camps is she going to do. So then we knew she was going for her red, and then I took the first red buff, which was really good, especially because we have Kha'Zix pushing in mid lane, can push off Cassidy and he can't defend us. So we got the red and then have an idea, okay, Elise is going to be looking around her jungle, and then I can first blood her there, kind of secure our early game. And I think Eve is just a very different champion than playing, let's say, like Lee Sin or Elise or Olaf. It changes how you play and how you think about the game completely, and you can't just pick it up like 3 days of practice and try to make it work. You have to have played the champion for a long time and understand stealth champions.
And with the idea of new things happening, you guys letting Cassidy through this time, what was the idea behind that? Was it easy to fix a focus shifter, or you didn't think it would be that much of a problem?
All right, well, we're playing on the new patch, which means that Cassidy did receive nerfs. So he's got even lower base numbers now, which means that if he has such low base numbers, he needs a really high amount of AP to be as impactful as before. Before, you needed 1 or 2 kills and he'll get going, but now he needs 3 to 4. He needs a lot of kills, and if you get a counter pick on him mid lane, he's not going to be too useful. Taking Cassidy is something we didn't want to do because it hinders your early game. He just sits there and has to be useless until level 6. So we wanted something else, and with good lockdown from Annie and enough burst damage from Kha'Zix, Jace, and Lucian, we were able to deal with him pretty effectively.
And, you know, final question, that Lucian build, Cutie Pie loves to go for his Ghost Blade. What's the idea behind this for him?
All right, so before he didn't use Ghost Blade, he used to go, I think it was Bloodthirster into Trinity Force, and now he started going Yomus, because I told him, look, Cutie Pie, I've seen it done before. Yomus, you got to do it on Lucian. You have to do it on Draven too. It's an item that's very cost effective with its active, and it just allows for a lot of snowball. If you can get that item early and make it work, it just snowballs the game out of control. And I think being able to do that is something that's pretty invaluable. Just snowballing, why not? It's high risk, high reward. So
why not, indeed. Crumbs, thank you very much. Best of luck in the rest of Super Week. Congrats on the win. All right, everybody, we're almost done for the day. We're going to throw it back to Freak and Jat on the caster's desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Now, turning to see the standings, we're going to see that TSM, they still hold on to first place, and Cloud9 are sitting 1 game back in second.
In third place and extending their winning streak, it is CLG, and of course keeping sole possession of fourth with that win is Dignitas. Then we have Coast at 7 and 11.
And 6th place is Team Curse, followed by EG in 7th, and in last place XDG. All these teams just 1 game apart from each other. North American LCS returns Saturday, 12 p.m. noon Pacific, 9 p.m. Central European time, with another full day of 6 games. Up first, TSM versus the surging CLG.
And that is a full day. After that, Evil Geniuses take on XGG, followed by Cloud9 versus Curse.
And if you're worried about 6 games not being enough, fear not, the North American Challenger Series will return tomorrow immediately following the conclusion of the LCS day. For a complete schedule, head over to lolesports.com. And now on behalf of myself, Jat, Riv, Kobe, and the entire North American broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you here tomorrow.
It's a good Challenger game we got, too.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
He's got vision. He goes for it. He got it.
Oh my gosh! Snoopy comes in with the steal. He throws down Agony's Embrace on the team. Inox wanted to go in. They said, yeah, we got Baron, but they said, no, we don't want the fight. There's the initiation at 10, dude. Like we said, trying to get the damage in with that new Black Cleaver he put in his belt. Spears to the backside. They trade good damage. Shifter over to Wild Turtle, but it's the focus of Wiz, Zion, and Daydream, and all huddled around Dyrus' Dominus, taking consistent damage, making sure he was in the middle of the fight. TSM looks to the Nexus turrets, and they look to grab the 2nd win in Super Week over Coast.
Are you guys sure we can't just win?
I think we can. I think we can.
Probably. I have ulti, I can just run at this guy.
Who has flashes?
I have no flash.
I have flash in 1 second, okay?
Okay.
8 seconds on the...
Give me. Going.
Is it the gods? I'm moving up right now. I'm moving up.
Yeah, we got it.
We got it.
Ignore them. I have Seraphs. I'll tank them.
Yeah, we got this. Come on, kill him. There's Black Shield. I'm gonna kill him for double.
No,
It's on the game.
End the game. Yes.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep
I think
going.
they still have Oriole.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Oriole is down. Oriole is down.
I got Pillar in 1 second. I got Benny, I got Benny. Go on the next target. I'm gonna keep
Watch
facing.
out,
I'm gonna get Ori. I'm gonna get Ori.
We can get Baron. Nice.
Nice.
We're doing stress claps right now? Yeah, we're doing stress claps.
Look at that. I got rid of his hands. Now he doesn't have any more hands.
You paid. Okay, no, don't go that far.
Take the turret, take the turret. I'm on the turret.
Don't ever go that
Peel
far.
back, peel back.
Okay, I got the
I'm on
turret.
Daydreaming.
I'm on Daydreaming.
You can get
Stay together.
I'm on Nintendo. I'm on Kaylin.
I'm the ultimate shifter. Kaylin, I'm on Jax.
Nice,
He's stunned, he's stunned, he's stunned. No. Pull back. Pull back. I'm really low, I'm really low.
Killing him.
Okay, I'm really low.
That's 3 or down.
It's game.